Hello, Internet. Today I'm drinking, well, I've drank a couple things, but right now I'm on PBR, and I'm thinking about the end of the world. The end of the world is very important to our cultural consciousness. We think about the end of the world a lot. Do you remember last year, I think it was the Family Christian Radio, that predicted the end of the world was going to be in 2011, and 2011 came and went. So, two things. I really respect that anybody would be so interested and so convicted at any point that they would tell people that shit on the radio. They put up posters about it. You know, I see somebody about to be hit by a car, and I'm like, excuse me, sir. Oh, sir, you might be able to... But no, these motherfuckers, like, put up these posters. On the flip side, I really get a huge kick about them being wrong. My schadenfreude just goes nuts. Like, oh my god, they were so wrong. And here is a fact. Everybody, and it's been hundreds and thousands of motherfuckers who have predicted the end of the world, have been 100% wrong. They've been wrong every single time. The world has never, ever ended. And I take such comfort in that. Thank God the world just doesn't end all the time. The ancient Babylonians had tablets that said the end of the world was nigh. The early Christians thought the end of the world was nigh. Here is a pro tip. You can only say the word nigh when it's about the end of the world, or you're talking about the science guy. 2012 is an important year for us, for some reason, because we think that the Mayans thought that the end of the world was going to be in 2012. Now, whether or not the Mayans actually thought that the world was going to end in 2012, or whether the sixth sun was going to die, or whether they just ran out of stone, here's a fact. I don't give a fuck. A couple reasons. One, everybody who's ever done this has been wrong. Two, I don't give a fuck what the Mayans say. I don't care when they say we should harvest our maize. I don't care what they think our government should be like. I don't care how much blood we should sacrifice to the jaguar gods. They had opinions about all this stuff, and I don't care. In my general day, I don't look to the Mayans for any sort of guidance or leadership. The Mayans didn't know shit. The Mayans didn't know anything about the internet. The Mayans didn't know anything about email protocols. The Mayans didn't know anything about driving on the right side of the road. The Mayans don't know anything. The Mayans, fuck them. Actually, except for the Mesoamerican ball game. The Mesoamerican ball game was awesome. You take a 14, 15, 16 pound ball of rubber, and you have to kick it around a court, and actually you can't kick it, and you can't handle it with your hands. You have to hit it with your shoulders and your hips, and you have to get it through like a tiny ass hoop, and whoever loses dies. Badass. You know what else is badass? It's actually the Norse end of the world story. The Norse end of the world story was called Ragnarok. Ragnarok is very cool. We don't know a lot about Norse mythology. We basically know what a Christian told us. The Christian's name was Snorri. Snorri is the worst name ever. Like, Snorri is the worst name. That kid must have been made so much fun of at school. Like, Snorri, come tell us about Norse mythology. Kick your ass. Oh, that poor kid. Anyway, Norse mythology, the end of the world, awesome. The Norse also cared about the end of the world. Apparently, they really thought a lot about it. And what they thought about it was that it was called Ragnarok. It means the twilight of the gods, which is a cool name. And it was a cool thing. Ragnarok could only happen when a couple different things happened. One, the dead had to get enough fingernails from the corpses to make ships. God damn, think about that. Think how gross that is. Think how grody that is. The forces of hell had to harvest fingernails from corpses to make enough ships that they could sail back to the land of the living and terrorize them. Oh my Jesus, that would be awful. Also, similarly awful, a particular god, the son of Odin, had to make a boot, a big boot, out of foot cheese. So he'd basically take foot cheese off of corpses and scrape it off. And that is the thing that had to happen before the end of the world could happen. He had to make a big foot cheese boot. So Odin, who we think of as the chief of the Norse gods, may or may not be true. But he was a badass god. He had one eye because he traded his other eye for magic. He was the god of the dead. He was the god of the undead. He was the god of zombies. He was the god of the gallows. He was the god of wisdom. He had an 8-legged horse. He had this big fucking spear. This badass shit god was eaten by a giant demon wolf. A giant demon wolf named Fenrir. And there was this other god called Freyr, and Freyr, he was the god of elves and brightness and fertility and all the things you don't normally associate with Vikings. And he had a fire sword, a sword made of fire. But he also had to fight a giant made of fire, so I guess the sword didn't help him that much. And Thor, you know Thor, he had a big hammer. He's a thunder god, and Marvel made a comic book about him. He had to fight this huge serpent called Jormungandr. Jormungandr is as big as the whole fucking earth. And Thor kills him in Ragnarok, but he also gets bit by him, and he can only walk 9 steps. 9 motherfucking steps. This is some Quentin Tarantino bullshit. This is some Kill Bill level, fuckery that Thor has to put up with. And he falls over dead. So, the Mayans don't mean shit. Next time the Mayans run out of calendar, they'll let me know. Nothing's going to happen in 2012. Whenever the Norse said that Ragnarok was going to happen, let me fucking know. Bad ass.